Here are the 8 reasons why you're not running faster. We work with thousands of athletes that complain about them not getting any faster and improving their speeds and paces. Today we're going to share the most common things we see runners doing wrong that stops them from getting faster.
The reason you're not getting faster is because you are only running. And there is a point, particularly with the amateur athlete, that you start to get what we call diminishing returns. In the beginning, as you run more, you get better and better and better, and you suddenly get to a point where adding more doesn't necessarily make you faster, but what it does do is it makes you a whole lot more tired and increases your risk for getting overuse injuries, which then really impacts into your ability to get faster. So it's very important that you start to add in other forms of exercise, with the first and most important of those being strength, and the second, if you've still got more time in your week and want to train a little bit more, is to add in some cross training.
Most coaches will tell you that consistency is really the key to help you improve your running and help you get faster over time. And they are really right. If you're not consistent over time with your training, you're not going to essentially get those building blocks in place to help you get faster over time. Big breaks in training will affect this consistency, and essentially what that means is you're going to build up and have physiological adaptation, and then you have a big break and you lose a little bit of that, and then you jump straight back in and you really risk injury again, and again then affects consistency, and so that cycle continues. The more we are consistent, the more we can build blocks on top of each other, days on days, weeks on weeks, months on months, and years on years. That is where you're going to start seeing that you're getting faster and that your running is getting better and better. Think of consistency almost like a financial investment. Those tiny little bits that but are consistent over time compound, and that's what you're looking for with running as well. Lots of good consistent efforts over time will build up and give you that compounding effect, and that is essentially what we're looking for.
Another factor we tend to see as to why you're not getting faster is actually running too much. And that is a big problem as well. Why is running too much a problem? We talk about overloading, not getting enough time to recover. A big mistake we see is people thinking, well, I might be training for a half marathon, maybe something a little bit longer, and they need to be cramming this volume into their training week. That then leads to them trying to run 5, 6, maybe some people 7 days a week. We really don't want to be doing that, because the problem here is we're not giving ourselves enough time to recover. Running too much means back-to-back runs almost every day. There's not enough time to get the adaptation in the recovery that we often speak about, and it's in that recovery time that we're really getting those benefits of the training that we have done in the week. So just getting the balance right of the amount of training, the amount of mileage and volume that you're doing in the week is absolutely key to make sure we're not doing too much and risking potential injuries, getting sick, and just constantly feeling in a state of fatigue.
Of course, on the other side of what Devlin is talking about is that you may not be running enough. So we do need to provide a certain amount of stimulus in order to get better and improve. And so certainly early on in your running career, often people will run 2, maybe 3 times a week and find that they plateau very quickly. Depending what you're training for, your ability as a runner, where you are in your experience as a runner, you really want to try and aim to get in 4 to 5 days a week of training, and that will then kickstart some more stimulus and allow you to start seeing some gains in running again. Now that you understand more about the impact of volume on training, Shona is going to unpack the role intensity plays in helping you run faster.
I know we're talking about running faster, and so what I'm about to say is going to sound a bit counterproductive, but in order to get faster, we have to run our easy runs easy enough. I know that's a mindset change. I'm telling you, you have to run slower and easier to get faster, but essentially it's really important. And the reason is this: when we are trying to build our aerobic system, essentially trying to build the engine of your body, we need to run easy enough so that you're not putting too much physiological load or damage on your body. So the time it comes to running faster and doing your interval sessions, you're essentially fresh and ready and can go really hard in those sessions. It's very, very key that we run these runs nice and easy to take off that eccentric load on the body. Think of this aerobic capacity like the engine of your car. Your car has this engine, but you got this nice turbo. If you drive the car in that turbo the entire time, eventually that engine's going to seize. So what we want to do is we want to drive the car nice and easy, and then every now and then just tap into that turbo, and that's how you'll be able to run for a very long time, and it's going to get you faster over time. Speaking of that turbo, I'm going to hand you over to Lindsay and he's going to dive into a little bit more detail on that.
The impact of not running easy runs easy enough often spills into your hard runs and doesn't allow you to run your hard runs as hard as you need to. Now, there are two aspects to really improving your running by using interval work, hill work, or generally your high intensity workouts. And the first is being in a position to be fresh enough to push yourself hard enough in those sessions. And the second is in your approach to those sessions and how you execute. That's really important in terms of turning yourself into a better runner and running faster. Often, when we get into a high intensity workout situation, if we haven't absorbed the exact point of that workout or don't understand 100% what we want to do, we often end up pushing ourselves too hard in the first couple of reps and fading and being unable to execute what we need to by the end of those repetitions. That is the main reason why at Coach Parry we like to roll through phases of doing a very similar workout for a couple of weeks on the trot. We could get the same physiological benefits by changing up the workouts, but if we can help you learn how to execute, so in week 1 you maybe start a little bit too fast in rep 1, 2 and 3 and you can't complete the workout, it allows you to come back in week 2 and to moderate the effect of the workout slightly so that you can execute the first and the last in the same way so that you're getting close to exhaustion by the final rep and not in the middle of the workout.
One of the really key ways to help you get faster over time is strength training. We've spoken a lot about this, but strength training helps keep you injury free, which essentially will allow you to stay consistent, which we've spoken about as to how that helps you get faster. The other aspect where strength training is really effective is that it improves your running economy. The main difference between elite runners and recreational runners isn't their VO2 max, it's their running economy. Elite runners are so much more efficient at utilizing their fuel or their energy, and it gets them a little bit further. Sticking with our car analogy, if you think of running economy, think of the fuel economy of your car. You want to use less fuel to be able to go further and faster, and that is essentially what running economy is. Strength training helps improve your running economy without even running. So it makes you a better runner, a more efficient runner, essentially a faster runner without even having to run. We've put together a strength plan for you. If you're interested in that, you can download it by clicking on the link on screen now.
Another factor we tend to see as to why you're not getting faster is getting the balance between your high intensity runs and your easy runs just right, and making sure that you're not doing too much too hard. Shona's spoken about the easy runs easy enough, Lindsay's spoken about those hard runs hard enough, but what is the right proportion of the two components to get right and optimal for you? Ideally, we work on, for an amateur runner, to be working anywhere in the range of about 80 to up to 90% of your training volume as those really easy runs, aerobic type of training, up to 90%, so 80 to 90% of your weekly volume. It is then the remainder 10 to 20% that we then focus on that high intensity running. You don't need to be doing every single run that you get out busting a lung, bleeding from the eyeballs, because you might feel that you don't have enough time and you're trying to get the quality out of those training sessions. It only needs to be a small percentage of your weekly volume, and in most cases that equates to 1 run a week at intensity. It's obviously going to be quite dependent to who you are as a runner, what your training background is and what you're training for, but in most cases it's going to be 1 run, 10 to 20% of your weekly volume that's at intensity, and that 80 to 90% as nice, easy, slow runs.
If you need help tying everything together that we've spoken about in today's video, we've put together a really chunky video that takes you through and explains to you exactly how you can put all of these things together in your training. Click on the link on screen now.